Hello, and welcome to Shatter Our Souls with Novaria. Today we are tackling the 50cc version of Mushroom Cup in Mario Kart Double Dash. Now, Mushroom Cup is the beginner's courses. They're meant to be the means of easing the player into the entire franchise and into the game in and of itself. It's meant to give a lot more breathing room for players in a way that other later courses simply do not. The physics are fairly tight. Unlike certain snow levels, there aren't very many obstacles like the city tracks. And so what you're left with is reasonably basic tracks designed around keeping your player in a safe location. Note that Mario Kart Double Dash has a couple major oversights, we'll say. The first is that it was meant to be multiplayer in nature. And so, with that, I have an old friend of mine playing with me today. We have Doubledash as little Baby Ouija. Baby Ouija number not one. At least that's, what we hear. And there are a couple special rules when I'm saying itemless. First things first is that itemless refers to me not, or us, not using the items in our inventory slot on the top left. That's going to be important because my reasoning for it became pretty simplistic. If I was sitting and arguing over bananas, over shells, then yeah, those combative ones that are going to cause me issues are a problem, but I'm still allowed to use ones that are on the ground. Think of it as leniency. So if there is a star or mushroom on the ground, something that is beneficial to me, I can still run into that with the cart. But it cannot leave my inventory by standard means. And that's gonna be potentially important later. Getting struck by lightning, hit by a bomb, or a blue shell may cause the player to drop tools. And so, I'm not intentionally dropping any of that. With that in mind, welcome to the second track, Peach Beach. Peach Beach is one that I've always found has some pretty interesting background, shall we say. How do I put this elegantly? Because the tide comes in and out throughout the duration of the race, it is possible to cut off large swaths of the track just by virtue of, I don't need to worry about this because it's a safe zone still. And so, while later versions of the game will just let you drive right through the water without any issue, this version had a little bit of a risk versus reward system, where you could potentially end up, first star. You could potentially end up lost in the middle in this. In other versions of it, you just drive it right through. So I believe that this is actually the most mechanically dense version of this track that we ever see. I could be wrong. I have been in the past. But be that as it may, we'll pass that bridge when we get there. Anywho, little baby Ouija is holding his own, I think. And we enter the final lap. I do have a little bit of a love-hate relationship with the Mushroom Cup. On its own, as I said, there aren't very many courses that are mechanically dense. And so it kind of leaves a little bit to be desired. Come on, baby Ouija. Oh, we were too far out. Not enough force behind those fists of fury. Yes, I know we're stopping to, see if we can get a good old punch in, but sadly, no. Anywho, heading into the third race. You have Luigi Circuit, which is a fairly standard figure eight. You have Peach Beach, which is a standard loop with some water features. And then you have Baby Park. Baby Park is kind of one of those oddball courses. Some people love it, some people hate it. I am of the mindset that it is one of those courses that, love it or hate it, it has merit to it. It being as simplistic as it is makes it a chaos-ridden location. It has faster than average gameplay and really sets the tone for what Mario Kart is supposed to be. It's supposed to be a little bit chaotic. It's supposed to be a little bit out there. And I think that's by design. Oh, come on. We got one clock in there. So, why do I bring this up? I believe that from here on, things are going to be a bit more interesting. Because of the nature of going at higher speeds and 2, playing with a friend means that we're going to end up with many, I suppose, out of pocket moments, and that's kind of by design. 3. Baby Luigi is getting his money's worth out of this. 4. Oofy. There is another thing that came up. So, throughout the duration of the challenge in and of itself, Doubledash and I were experimenting with ways to try to improve ourselves. I think that's 6? It's 5 or 6. And one of the earliest and easiest ways to do so was actually in the form of punching. Punches in this have a unique effect where it boosts the speed of the character playing. Or boosts the speed of the cart, provided it's at about 30% of its total max speed, you can punch. And it will get shot up by about double, if only temporarily. This increase in speed means that the cart will recover from a slowdown much faster than virtually any other method involved. Ah, yes, the green shell. Our trusty weapon this time. And it's gonna sit unused. Oh well. I personally believe that Mario Kart Double Dash, while it didn't necessarily set the stage for what the franchise was going to become, I do believe that it set the stage for what could constitute being part of a track. You can see some obvious design elements getting carried over from Wario and Waluigi's Colosseums in Double Dash over into some of the newer tracks like Waluigi Pinball. And that is by design. It is meant to be a lot more open-ended when they do these types of tracks. And something that I personally enjoy about this franchise is seeing the evolution from the early days to nowadays. Because here's the thing. The most complicated track in this game is by far and away Wario Colosseum. And the most complicated track in the franchise is, well, truthfully, it's up for debate. I personally believe it's a Rainbow Road of some variety, but they have enough variation in how the game works and the tracks that you play on that over time they stop melding together and start being more consistent. And Mario Kart as a whole has gone through what I'll call main phase and experimental phase when it comes to the games and their tracks. If you look at the original Mario Kart as well as Super Circuit, you can see that they're experimenting a little bit with what the game is capable of. Could we do this? Could we do that? Could we have it so that we have speed bumps or something on the track? and they go through experimental phases. Their main console games, however, are more basic in general. And that's, again, by design. It's meant to be more approachable on the console, for the sheer fact that the player themselves wants to be able to succeed. And the console, being somewhat more geared toward multiplayer, allows friends of all ages to get together and enjoy the game as it is. Anywho, welcome to the final award ceremony of 50cc Mushroom Cup. We knew this was coming, and reality is, it only gets better from here. I am the type of individual who believes that the Mario Kart franchise picked some very ideal speeds. But that's all from me. If you like what you see, drop a like, leave a sub. We'll catch you next time.